four, three, two, one.
Over the past 5 weeks, we've witnessed something extraordinary. Spoken into existence has been nothing short of groundbreaking. We set out to do something no one had done before. Give two powerhouse authors, Joseph Nassise and Tom Leveen, the tools to create, voice, and publish a brand new audiobook series in real time. Not just written, but written for audio, voiced with AI, published as it happens. It wasn't just about releasing a story. It was about redefining the storytelling process itself. Watching authors take full creative control over their audio work, directing tone, sculpting emotion, conducting their manuscripts like symphonies. With Spoken's AI-powered studio, they didn't just write a novella. They became architects of audio. Every word, every pause, every performance. Spoken into existence pulled the curtain back on it all. From story meetings and character arcs to casting voices and building trailers. Showing the world what happens when writers finally have the tools to direct their own narrative universe. And now, it's complete. Sackcloth and Blood, Volume 1, War, is officially live. And as promised back in Episode 3, we're celebrating its launch with the official Spoken book trailer. So, turn it up and enjoy the ride. This is Spoken into Existence.
The things I saw, the things I did while I was unconscious. It's endless.
Moxie Kirk was 14 when she became the incarnation of war.
Listen to me now. There's danger coming for you, for me, for everything we do and everything we represent.
She was a horseman of the apocalypse. It was all real. Moxie strode forward, her grip firm on the khopesh, wondering if this new sensation was the power of God or merely the clarity that came with purpose.
Maybe we deserve it. I'll die trying. I don't care.
An audio novella made with Spoken.
Spoken.
Welcome back to Spoken into Existence. I'm Joe.
I'm Tom.
And we're using Spoken's AI tools to turn our novella of Sackcloth and Blood, Volume 1, War, into a multicast audiobook.
Yeah.
At this point, we've pretty much done everything we need to do. We created the characters, created the story, we wrote the novella, we've gone in and selected voices for each of our casts. Mm-hmm. And for the last several weeks, we have been meticulously double-checking every single line of the novella to make sure we are happy with the way the AI is producing the voices and the intonation and the pronunciations and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we have other work that we've been doing in the meantime. We've launched a new book on my side. Tom's done a new Kickstarter. We've both gone on vacation, so it's taken us a little while to get to this point. As they say, life intrudes. But finally, today we are here for, I think, the last time. I think today we will be pushing the publish button. And you who've been following along will finally be able to listen to the audiobook for free at length whenever you feel like it. So we're pretty excited, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah, and I would add to that, as you were talking about, how long it's been as we've been doing the line by line thing, is to for our creators out there to underline and underscore the fine tuning and control that we have over those lines that I think is unprecedented, if I'm not mistaken. Like this kind of, that sort of really getting in there and turning each little individual dial is awesome. It's been an incredible learning experience and creator experience to be able to go in and tinker under the hood like that and get it just the way we want it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Spoken's latest release actually takes that one step further. You can now upload your manuscript and have the AI choose every single voice, go through and do all the work to create the passages, and
Mhm.
then just sign off in the end if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think both of us were a little more. We wanted to dig a little deeper under the hood. We wanted to make sure that it met our particular standards, and so we went through it line by line. But the nice part about the tools, I think, is it lets you do either. If you don't have time for it, or you don't really want to do the work, then
Mhm.
you can just upload it and go. If like us, if you want to be a little more meticulous, you have that opportunity.
And there's a spectrum there too, right? Like
Yeah,
I think you and I both have put up some other things on our own just to keep playing around with the technology a little bit. And I've done one that was just, you know what, I need a narrator. That's it. Just please give me a narrator and threw it up there. And like you said, just picked one out and I listened to it and like, yep, that sounds good. And off we go. Or on the complete opposite end of the spectrum is that almost word by word that we did for this. So there's lots of gray in between for the creator to play with.
yep, yep. It's been fascinating, really has been. So today we have, I think, one final screen. Let me share that for the folks at home. All right.
Okay.
So this is our final published screen. We've gone through the voices, we've gone through all the passages. Now we're at the point where we just approve the general information about um, our project, and this is the information that the listener, the reader, will be privy to when they go in and try to find the book that matches the kind of story that they're looking for. So as you can see, previously we took our cover art and we've uploaded it here. And that was simply a measure of, find the file and upload it off the drive, and pretty simple. It gives us our title and then our subtitle, as well as our length and our word count. So, roughly 22,000 words ends up being about 2 hours of audiobook. And that's our most recent update from July 9th. Now we've got some choices to make. In terms of privacy, do we want it to be private? Do we want it to be public? Do we want it to be unlisted? In our case, we want people to be able to find it, so it's going to be a public draft. And
But
then
that
we're
means
going to give it. Go ahead.
also, I'm sorry, I jumped in there, Joe. This also means, if I'm not mistaken, that if we wanted to make it private, this is something that creators who are familiar, for example, with Kickstarter or with any other pre-launch type of things, that you can get that out to your beta readers or to early readers, to reviewers, editors, whatever, that kind of thing before it ever goes public to anybody else. Does that track with what you're thinking?
To the best of my knowledge, it gives you the ability to provide a link to people that you want to have review it or see it or listen to it, but it doesn't put it into the index on the spoken site, so to speak. It doesn't allow it to be discovered by simple searching or things of that nature. So yeah,
Cool.
I'm not sure which. I don't know if it's private or if it's unlisted that does that. We should probably double check with our friends at Spoken, but that is the purpose of at least one of those.
Hmm.
For us, we just want to make it public, so we don't have to worry about it at this particular time. But good call. Um, Display channel tag is the primary, what do I want to call that?
Genre?
Yeah, primary
Genre,
genre catalog
category?
tag that it
Yeah.
resides under. And if we look at the drop down list, we've
Mm.
got a whole slew of options here. Now, fantasy works, but I'm not as thrilled with that, I think. Folk tales, legends, and mythology would probably work as well, but again,
Mhm.
not as close as I would like. What do you think about just calling it a horror novella?
I think you're probably right about horror because, in looking at things from the end user's point of view, if I'm searching, I'm thinking of our friend Danny, for example,
Mhm.
and if Danny is looking for folktales, legends, and mythology, that means Danny's looking for Greek myths or Greek Roman, any of those kinds
Yeah,
of things.
Japanese folklore or something like that.
Yeah, fairies, maybe even that kind of thing. And what we've got out here does not fit that bill at all. So I think horror is probably the way to go.
All right, so I'm going to select that. Now, in doing so, It changes some of the subtags
Mhm.
that we have auto selected here. We haven't put any of these in. These are what accompany the tag that goes along with horror and goes along with what the AI thought our book fits into.
Mhm.
So we should review these and then decide if we want to add some more. So we've got horror, obviously, which is what we just selected. That's good. Hero's journey is a particular story structure kind of approach to things, and I believe that fits
Yeah.
our book. Epic quest, certainly war is going on a kind of quest. That's good. Battle between good and evil. Yep, we like that.
Mhm.
Prophecy is mentioned several times within the story of the Four Horsemen. So, yep, we got that. Magical creatures, definitely have that. Alternate realities. I'm
I
not sure
noticed
about that
that.
one.
I think if we look at it from the point of view of the end user, if I am somebody who is looking for something that's an alternate reality, I think I'm more likely to think of, like, for example, your World War One zombie book, which is real but different. I
Yeah,
don't think war fits into that category.
yeah, I don't either. I'm going to just select that and get rid of it. We don't need that. World building. Again,
Mm.
there's not a lot of world building that goes on in the story. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, when we created the representations of the Four Horsemen, that came from somewhere, but
Mhm.
it's not like, oh, we're playing, here I'm going to date myself. We're playing Sim and we're building a city or we're building a world or we're building a country, right? Uh,
Mhm.
that doesn't take place in our story. So I think we can get rid of that one as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think world building very naturally is attached to things like Lord of the Rings or Narnia, more of a
Yeah.
fantasy world. That's where people are connecting world building, so I think we can get rid of it.
Okay. We certainly have enchanted objects,
We do.
the Great Sword of the Apocalypse and so on. We seem to have horror in here twice, so I'm going to get
Yeah.
rid of one of them. All right, and then apocalyptic is the final tag, and I would agree that that works.
Hmm.
Are there any others that we should add in here? We can make it
I'm
dark fantasy,
yeah, I think so.
just kind of a general genre one that fits.
Monsters.
Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, I guess we could put demons in there if we wanted
Yep,
to.
yep, that works for me. And by the same route, angels.
Oh, yeah, because that's a whole, I mean, you've got some experience with that. That's a whole sort of subcategory that people get into.
Yep.
Something about the pacing, like fast paced, or like, because there's some books that I would include very deliberately. I would say if it was slow burn or not. This is
Right.
not slow burn. So
Oh,
whatever
no,
the
no.
opposite of that is.
Yep. Yep. Fast paced. It's not quite grimdark. It's
No,
not hopeless, not so I don't think we'd add that. Um,
something. I think the thing too that I've been kind of learning about myself as we go through this is thinking about words and phrases and tags that entail the reader's experience. And finding the keywords and phrases that speak to that. I'm still learning how to do that. I think this is a really good list to start though, because this will tell you whether this is your brand, your cup of tea or not, right?
yeah. Yep. What do you think about adding kind of a generalized location kind of thing, like Southwest or American Southwest?
I don't know. That's a really good conversation to have because there's part of me on the marketing side that's like, yes, you want to drill down and really, get that segment of people interested. And the other part that says, no, 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 that's too specific. You're going to lose people. And I don't know which is true.
Yeah,
Although maybe desert or desert setting,
yeah,
that
that
opens it
works.
up sort of globally as opposed to the Southwest.
Gets us a broader kind of approach.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Like
that.
I would be attracted to that immediately. Oh, desert? Okay, I'm in. Whereas I see stuff with snow, I'm like, I don't read about snow.
What about some of the thriller kind of elements, maybe like clandestine mission or something along those lines? That too
Uh,
broad?
I think for this story, I think it's too broad, but I think you're getting nearer something else that needs to be in there, and that is the stakes.
Hmm.
We kind of have that with apocalyptic.
Yep.
Um, I don't know how you'd phrase what the stakes are for this. Uh,
World ending. Uh,
yeah,
Try it. Can't hurt, right?
right, yeah. Um,
All right.
but I think those are for our creators out there thinking in those terms. I think will be helpful to come up with what those tags ought to be: reader experience, genre, category, and geography. I think, like you said, yeah.
And we've got the, battle between good and evil. We've
Hmm.
got, a simple one we're missing is supernatural.
Oh, there you go. Good catch.
Whoop. Because whether you're looking at from the religious mysticism side or whether you're looking at from the monsters and the creatures and all that kind of stuff, that word fits both elements, I think.
Yeah,
All right, I think that's a good list. I mean, we
that's a
can
good
all
list. Hmm.
the nice part about this is we can always come in and revise it if later we discover, oh, hey, there's, 10 other words that we want to get up here. We could add those in at a later date. But for now,
Yeah.
I think this narrows the scope, gives people a sense of what kind of story they're going to be experiencing. And I think really that is the key. Hey, what are you looking for as a reader? This is the kind of story that we're delivering.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's move on to these final elements here. Do we want to add audio mastering to this project? You can see that's already checked, but let's take a peek at what that actually means. Apply changes to your project to adhere to audiobook standards.
Hmm. Hmm.
It'll notify you when the process is complete. Basically, it's putting all the volumes within one set of elements, making them a certain loudness, getting rid of noise in the background, things of that nature.
And
I
I know I've done a
idea. What
lot.
do you think?
Yeah, I think we keep that because just looking at that, what was in that pop-up window, I've done a lot of audiobook production on my own for my own work. And if I'm not mistaken, that matches everything, for example, on Audible. Those are metrics that you have to hit before they will accept your work. So I think that's great that they include that, and those scores, so to speak, look like consistent with Audible. So
What we know.
yeah.
Right. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Got that checked. Allow users to sponsor translating my work into an additional language of their choice.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
It is.
So if I'm a listener and I want to hear this in Spanish, I can somehow sponsor that translation to occur, and
Yeah.
that will be done without cost to you or I. It's
Yeah, and since we're keeping, we've established in an earlier video that we are maintaining and keeping all the rights, correct? I mean, that's the first flag that goes up. It's like, wait a minute, before I start handing stuff out to people, who does it belong to? And if this means all of this still belongs to us, then I don't see why not. I'd be curious to see how it turns out.
the flip side of that is, well, they're not saying anything to us here about whether that then becomes the production of the person who sponsored.
Mm.
So I'm actually a little leery of checking that
Mm.
box because we
Then,
don't know that. That's an unanswered question, right?
so I would say let's not.
Yeah.
Always default to not, and then put in a message to our friends there that we need another pop-up box, a little like we did on the one above.
Yep. Yeah. Explain this a little more to those of us who are producing our work and let us know what this actually entails. And I think that goes again for the next box there.
Hmm.
Allow users to sponsor the narration of my work in a single additional voice of their choice. That's interesting. I mean, we
It
did
is.
specifically a multicast audiobook for the fact that we wanted multiple voices. This might be better used for the creator that creates it in, one track, one narrator,
Mhm.
and the individual listening doesn't care for that narrator. The voice doesn't
Yeah.
work for them, that kind of thing. So hey, we'll produce it in another voice. We want to keep multicast narration. So, again, I think we shy away from that one as well.
Yeah, for the time being, yeah, but it'll be interesting to find out what the details are.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so the summary here is the product description that you and I wrote. All we did was cut and paste and put it into this box. What I don't like is the fact that, oh, good, there we go. It was mushing our paragraphs together, and I hate big blocks of text like that. Like you need to be
Yeah.
able to read it and take a look at it. Uh,
Hmm.
but this is the description of the product that the listener will find as they start to go through and review things they want to listen to on Spoken's website. So, it needs to be interesting. It needs to pull them in, it needs to have a hook. But we don't want to give away the whole story here. It's
Hmm.
just like you would if you were producing a book for Kindle or for any of the other, vendor platforms. You want it to be interesting, and you want it to, obviously make sense and have proper punctuation and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But we put that together originally, so all I did was cut and paste, and I fixed a couple of punctuation notes I just saw there. Then we get a list of comp titles.
Whoop, hold on.
What happened?
No, I just want to back up into the summary. Two things that jump out at me about the summary. The first is to clarify that as of this recording, this is not native AI to Spoken. So the AI in Spoken is not going to give you a summary. That's something you as the creator still have to include, like you said, cut and paste. So I mean, you can write one or do one on a different platform like ChatGPT or whatever, but inside Spoken, it is not summarizing for you.
Um, I will say yes and no. It did summarize something for us originally.
That's what I thought.
We
Yeah.
didn't like it, if you remember. It wasn't
Yep.
it wasn't our kind of product description.
Hmm.
So we cut and pasted over it.
Okay.
The AI will give you something. In our case, it was one big fat paragraph, and
Hmm.
I wasn't, and you weren't happy with exactly what it said. It didn't have it didn't build it up the way we wanted it to be built up. So,
Hmm.
so we deleted it. But yes, thank you for reminding me of that because we did that a number of weeks ago, and I'd forgotten that it even produced something
Okay.
for us.
That's
Uh,
what I thought. I couldn't remember for
yeah.
sure. So the other thing then about the summary, and this is again maybe a question for the folks over at Spoken, is that it does not appear that it supports any kind of HTML markup like you might find on Amazon, where you can do headers and bold and italics and all that kind of stuff, and which is okay. It would be a cool feature in the future if that's something they can add. But I would also, to our creators, point out that, in my opinion, be curious to hear what you think about it, Joe. When you lack that kind of markup, then the language you're using in your summary really becomes important because you can't hit those certain words anymore the way you can with bold or italics or something. And so you have to structure your summary in such a way that it still feels like you're punching certain words or phrases or things like that. So something to keep in mind.
This may accept markup language. It may accept HTML. I haven't tried.
Hmm.
And I'm leery of hitting that publish button and then having it show up, showing the markup language, showing the HTML on the public facing site. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's definitely one of those where we need to ask our friends at Spoken. All right, what's the case here? What can we get away with? Because
Yeah.
definitely, whoops, if I can get this to, like this very first line,
Hmm.
a dark supernatural thriller that will leave you breathless. We'd want that in bold, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's just how that approach works.
Hmm.
So yeah, we would definitely want to, and I'd probably bold the final line as well,
Yeah.
just to call attention to it. All right, excuse me a sec. Okay, so after that summary, and we should call attention to the fact that it's 500 words maximum.
Yeah.
I don't know how many words we have here. It's probably in the neighborhood of about 300. But still, that gives you multiple paragraphs to be able to write up a decent summary.
Hmm.
After that, we have a list of comp titles. And I would say they're comp titles that include, we don't have to just include books. We can do films, movies, television shows, whatever we think matches the style and type of book or type of story rather that we are telling with of Sackcloth and Blood Volume 1.
Yeah.
So, we've got The Magicians here, which is both a book series and a television series.
Mhm.
Deals in a fantasy world, but I don't see that as a comp title.
No. Well, and if I'm not mistaken, this was generated within the AI, wasn't it?
Yep, yep. We
Okay.
didn't do anything here. That's what the AI suggested to us.
Hmm.
But I don't like it. Let's take it out.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
and
would put your
thinking about
series.
comp, go ahead, man.
I would put your series in immediately. I would put the Templars in.
Okay.
And that gives kind of there's a you get a twofer because you have this wide audience who've read it, and then the ones who haven't go, wait, what's this? Hmm? And so you get a little bit of crossover there. I think that would be great.
I don't know if we need to do a return. Nope. I think we just separate them by commas.
Okay.
Um, I was thinking the other night, Constantine,
Oh,
as
good.
a film and as a comic.
Yep.
It has, the religious kind of elements. It has the horror,
Hmm.
obviously. It has,
Yeah.
artifacts and those kind of things, mystical artifacts. So those work. Um, Little cheeky, but what about The Stand by Stephen King? It's an apocalyptic approach to the end of the world, and we have that in
It
our.
is. I think that would be too misleading.
Okay, too much
I
of a.
think,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not that far of an apocalypse.
yeah. The setup and the execution is a little different.
How
Um,
about supernatural when it comes to
yeah.
monsters, creatures?
Hmm.
All right.
Yep, I think that's close enough that people, because that had a big following, and it's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that would get that person to at least kind of click the next button or scroll down a little bit more, whatever. Yeah, I think that's a good fit.
Yeah, because we're going for the supernatural, the horror,
Hmm.
dark fantasy. Those are the elements that we're looking for when it comes to a comp title. And for
Yeah.
those following along at home who might not know, a comp title is something that, a publisher would use to try to market your book. To say, okay, this is this type of story, and it's similar to these types of stories. And that
Hmm.
way you can kind of figure out, all right, is this the type of story that I want to listen to, that I want to read? So they're marketing elements. They're not an exact match. They're more of a, feeling and genre and elemental kind of match for other things.
What do they say in Hollywood? Like this, but different?
Yeah, yeah. Yep,
And
exactly.
I think to that point, I would point out like my inclination when you look at our list of keywords would be to say, oh, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that's a slam dunk, but it's not. As an enormous Buffy fan myself, I can look at that show and all the spin-offs and then look at what we've done with our story and say that much like The Stand, it sounds like it fits, but in the end would be misleading to the fans who really know like that's their thing. So I'm gonna say no to Buffy, which is too bad, but it doesn't fit.
What about something like Good Omens?
I'm
The
less familiar with that, but from what I know of it, I think that might fit. Yeah.
I know it's got the good angel and the bad angel, but I also think the
Hmm.
four horsemen of the apocalypse feature into the main storyline. I am not, sorry to say, a Terry Pratchett fan, not because I don't like the work, it's just because I haven't been exposed to it. I haven't read the series, I haven't watched the TV show. But based on general knowledge, I think that might be a good fit.
I think so, yeah.
All right,
And
take
honest,
that one.
I would personally, I would stop there.
Okay.
Like, I think, but I'd be curious to hear your opinion on that. Like, because you reach a point of diminishing returns, right? When you start doing comps, like if you or I were doing a pitch to a traditional publisher, for example, I don't think we would do more than four. Like five sounds like the outer limit. Like after that, if I'm the editor, I'm like, do you know what you're talking about? Are you trying to hit too many things when it's
I
really
tended to stop at three, as a matter of fact. So I think four is a good number. Like, all right, that gives
okay?
us the general kind of approach that tells people, the type of story that they're getting, and we don't need to beat a dead horse, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's already there, pun intended, right?
Right.
Okay.
This feels
So,
strong to me. Like I know if I try to remove myself from the story and say, what is this all about? Those four, I think I can get a pretty good idea. Most importantly, I can tell if it's something for me. Like I know looking at this, if this is something I'm going to enjoy listening to.
yeah. Yep. All right. So, just to review, we've got our cover art. We've got our title and our subtitle properly. We've got the actual length, got our privacy setting. We've got our channel tag set. We've got various other tags to help when people search. We're adding the audio mastering to the project. We're skipping the translation and skipping the selected additional voice narrator. We've added our product summary. It's under the 500 word max. And we've got some comp titles put in there, which leaves us with one final step, hitting
Do
the
it.
publish button. Having never gotten this far, I have no idea what happens next. We'll have to wait a minute and see. Congratulations, now processing. We'll notify you when it's complete. If you'd like to share your project, copy the link below. Well, I'm just going to copy it for our own reference, and I will send that link to you. And then close. And this is how it will appear on the Spoken website.
Then you can see there right by underneath the stars where it says mastering in progress and it gives you a little percentage. So that's good to keep an eye on.
Yep. Kind of tells us how long it will take. All right. So that takes us to the end of our weeks of processing here. We've started from nothing and created a multicast audiobook and an accompanying novella that we can use elsewhere on, Amazon or Barnes and Noble or what have you, and publish that as an ebook or as a print version, along with the audiobook that we have generated via Spoken.
Right, which is fully downloadable, as I recall.
Yeah, when that finishes processing, it'll actually pop up a link for us, and it just says, download here, and they will send us the fully mastered MP3 via email when it's complete. So yes, so then for those creators out there, you can then take that and use it wherever you want to use it. Excellent. All right. Well, let me stop sharing this. It has been a pleasure to follow along with you guys and be here for this. I think it's been a great little journey. I've really enjoyed it. And Tom and I both hope that you enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah, it's an incredible resource and it's just out there waiting to be used. So go for it.
Signing off. I'm Joe.
I'm Tom.
And this is Spoken Into Existence. Take care.
Thank you.
Follow us on socials at spoken.press. And be sure to follow the authors too, at Tom Leveen and at J Nassise on X. Joseph and Tom are also on Facebook, at joseph.nassise and author Tom Leveen. Or you can join the discussion in our communities over on Reddit and Discord. We'd love to hear your thoughts as the story unfolds. This is Storytelling Reimagined, and we're just getting started.